Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I want to speak with you about something that has the power to ignite your life, guide your actions, and give deep meaning to everything you do. That something is vision, not just what you see with your eyes, but what you perceive with your heart. Vision is the ability to see beyond the present and imagine a future that doesn't yet exist but could, if only you're willing to believe in it and pursue it with discipline. There is a deep and often overlooked connection between vision and discipline. Many people attempt to build disciplined lives through willpower alone, but discipline that lasts, the kind that shapes greatness, is always rooted in vision. Vision is what gives discipline its direction, its strength, and most importantly, its meaning. Without vision, discipline becomes dry, rigid, and even burdensome. But when you are fueled by a clear picture of where you're going, discipline transforms into a joyful commitment. Vision is not about what you see in front of you today, it's about what you see in your heart about tomorrow. It is the ability to mentally transport yourself to a future you desire, one that does not yet exist, but could if you live intentionally. It is the mental image of your destiny, and once you have that image clearly in your mind, it begins to control how you act, how you speak, how you spend your time, and what you allow in your life. This is where discipline is born, not out of guilt, shame, or pressure, but out of purpose. When someone has a clear vision for their life, they don't waste time. They don't engage in every conversation, chase every trend, or follow every crowd. They become selective, not out of pride, but out of focus. They understand that every minute matters, that every decision either brings them closer to or further from their goal. Their life becomes streamlined, vision acts like a filter, and discipline becomes the method of staying true to that filter. Think about the athlete who rises before the sun to train, the student who studies while others party, the entrepreneur who skips comfort for consistency. To outsiders, this may seem like self-denial or unnecessary pressure. But to someone driven by vision, these choices are natural. They aren't sacrifices, they are steps. When you are truly captured by a vision, discipline doesn't feel like punishment, it feels like preparation. You aren't enduring suffering, you're building strength. You aren't losing out, you're positioning yourself. That is why people who lack vision often struggle to stay disciplined. They don't have a compelling reason to say no to distractions. Their lives feel scattered because they haven't decided what matters most. But the moment vision becomes clear, so do boundaries. You stop entertaining the unnecessary. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop drifting. Instead, you align your habits with your hopes. Vision pulls you forward. It becomes the internal compass that guides your external behavior. If your vision is to be healthy, you begin choosing foods and routines that support vitality. If your vision is to write a book, you begin waking up earlier or staying up later to make time for it. If your vision is to lead a community, you start investing in your communication, your integrity, your emotional control. Without anyone forcing you, you begin to shape yourself, because your vision requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet, and discipline is how you become that version. There is also a protective power in vision-led discipline. It shields you from the voices that try to distract or diminish you. When you have vision, you are less concerned with comparison because you know your path. You stop living for applause because you're living for purpose. You stop chasing trends because you're building something timeless. You realize that not everything deserves your energy, not everyone deserves your explanation, and not every opportunity is aligned with your assignment. This level of discipline doesn't mean your life becomes boring. In fact, it becomes more vibrant because it's intentional. You become more aware of your choices, more confident in your steps, and more fulfilled in your progress. The smallest habits begin to feel significant because you know where they're taking you. Vision gives discipline emotional fuel. It makes the hard days worth it. It reminds you why you started when you feel like quitting. There will be moments when staying disciplined feels lonely. Not everyone will understand your decisions. Not everyone will see what you see. That's okay. Vision isn't a group project. It's a personal revelation. And the discipline it demands isn't for show, it's for growth. You don't need everyone to agree with your direction. You just need to keep walking in it. The fruit of your vision will eventually speak for itself. So if you find yourself struggling to stay focused, to build consistency, or to break bad habits, ask yourself, do I have a clear vision for my life? Not a vague wish, not someone else's dream, but your own compelling vision, something so real in your mind that it moves you into action. Because once you have that, discipline will no longer feel like a burden. It will become your natural rhythm, your daily devotion, your silent declaration that you are becoming who you were born to be. Pain is one of the most universal experiences in life, yet it remains one of the most misunderstood. People try to avoid it, numb it, or escape it. But the truth is, pain in itself is not the enemy. It becomes destructive only when it exists without meaning. Vision gives pain a reason. It transforms suffering from something that breaks you into something that builds you. It gives your trials context and your wounds direction. It helps you see beyond the moment of hardship and reminds you that there's something on the other side worth enduring for. Without vision, pain feels like punishment. It feels like chaos, random, cruel, and empty. But when you have a vision, even the worst seasons of life take on new meaning. They become part of a larger process. The struggle is no longer something to run from, but something to grow through. Vision allows you to say, this is hard, but it's not in vain. I know why I'm pressing forward. It rewrites the narrative. Pain no longer defines you, it develops you. There are people who give up the moment life becomes uncomfortable because they don't have a clear enough reason to push through. They haven't seen what they're fighting for. They haven't imagined a future worth suffering for. But vision gives you that picture. It allows you to look beyond your current discomfort and see the finished product. Like a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble, you start to realize that the cutting and shaping are necessary to reveal what was hidden inside. Pain becomes part of the artistry. Think about anyone who has achieved greatness in sports, music, business, service, or personal growth. Without exception, they all endured pain, rejection, setbacks, loneliness, long hours, self-doubt. But they kept going, not because it was easy, but because their vision was strong enough to carry them. Their future was more real in their hearts than the pain they were experiencing in the present. The vision became their why, and a strong enough why will always sustain you through the hardest how. There's something incredibly powerful about a person who suffers with purpose. They become resilient. They learn to see pain not as a wall, but as a doorway. They understand that pain has a function. It reveals weakness, builds endurance, sharpens focus, and deepens perspective. Vision doesn't take away the pain, but it changes how you experience it. You begin to realize that the very thing you wish to avoid is often the thing shaping you into someone capable of carrying the weight of your destiny. Life isn't kind to everyone. There are losses we don't expect, betrayals we never saw coming, illnesses that weaken our bodies, and disappointments that test our faith. But vision reminds you that where you are is not the end of your story. It gives you something to hold on to when everything else is falling apart. It tells you that the season of struggle has an expiration date, but the purpose behind it does not. When you have vision, even your tears become sacred. Your scars become proof that you survived, and your wounds become doors through which others are healed. Vision teaches you to not just endure pain, but to harvest it, to learn from it, to use it, to let it deepen your capacity for compassion, strength, and wisdom. The people who change the world the most are not the ones who had easy lives, but the ones who gave their suffering meaning. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came from people who transformed personal pain into global purpose. They didn't let pain silence them, they let it shape their message. What they went through became fuel for what they gave the world. That's what vision does. It redirects pain outward, turning it from something destructive into something redemptive. It brings beauty out of brokenness, but vision isn't automatic. You have to choose it. You have to decide, even in your darkest hour, that this is not the end, that there is something more waiting for you. You have to close your eyes and see what no one else can see, a healed version of yourself, a future restored, a purpose greater than your present pain. And once you see it, hold on to it. Don't let temporary suffering steal permanent destiny. Vision doesn't make the pain go away, but it gives you the strength to walk through it. It lifts your head when all you want to do is bow in defeat. It whispers that this is only a chapter, not the conclusion. And it gives you hope, which is one of the most powerful tools you can ever possess. Because as long as you have hope, you will keep moving. And as long as you keep moving, you are not defeated. So the next time you find yourself in pain, emotional, physical, mental, or spiritual, don't just ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this shaping in me?" Let vision interpret your pain. Let it reframe your suffering as preparation. And above all, never forget, the depth of your pain may be great, but it is only a reflection of the greatness that lies ahead if you choose to keep walking toward it. Life today is filled with noise. Every moment we're bombarded with choices: what to do, where to go, who to follow, what to chase. The endless stream of information, opinions, and distractions can easily pull us in 100 different directions. It becomes overwhelming, exhausting, and confusing. In the midst of all this noise, vision becomes a powerful filter. It doesn't just inspire you, it simplifies you. When your vision is clear, your path becomes focused. Life stops being about doing more and starts being about doing what matters. Without vision, people live scattered lives. They jump from one idea to the next, one goal to another, always busy but never fulfilled. They say yes to too many things and end up achieving too little. But when you have a vision, when you have a clear sense of purpose and direction, your life starts to narrow in the best possible way. You begin to choose activities, relationships, habits, and environments that align with that vision. You no longer feel the pressure to please everyone or fit into every trend. You become centered. A person with vision doesn't live by accident. They don't wake up wondering what the day will bring, they wake up with intention. Their vision gives them clarity about what to prioritize and what to let go. They are not swayed by temporary emotions or distractions because they know where they're going. It becomes easier to say no, not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. You don't need to say yes to everything when you're certain of your destination. Not every road leads there, not every offer serves it. Not every person helps it grow. Vision removes the unnecessary, it cuts through the clutter. You stop chasing opportunities that don't align with your purpose. You stop spending energy on people who drain you. You stop compromising your values for temporary rewards. Vision saves your time. It protects your peace. It simplifies the decision-making process because you have a standard, a guiding image of who you are becoming and where you are going. So many people feel stuck not because they're incapable, but because they're overloaded with options. They don't lack talent, they lack focus. Vision acts like a lens, bringing the important things into sharp detail and blurring out the distractions. You start to realize that success isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things consistently. It's about alignment, not activity. You'll notice that when people don't know what they want, they often follow what others want. They become imitators instead of creators. They end up in careers they don't love, relationships that don't last, and routines that don't feed their spirit simply because they never pause to define their own vision. But when you take the time to discover your vision, everything changes. You begin to move with a sense of identity. You're no longer just reacting to life, you're leading it. Vision makes your life more meaningful because it gives every action a reason. The small tasks that once seemed dull or routine now carry weight because you understand how they contribute to the bigger picture. You're not just going to work, you're building a future. You're not just learning a skill, you're preparing for your purpose. You're not just managing your time, you're stewarding your calling. Vision connects your daily actions to your ultimate purpose, and in doing so, it brings deep satisfaction and peace. There's a quiet strength in living a simple, focused life. In a world that celebrates busyness and chaos, the person who moves with clarity and calm stands out. They are not rushed, yet they move with urgency. They are not scattered, yet they are dynamic. Their life may seem minimal from the outside, but inside it is rich and purposeful. That's what vision does. It doesn't make life boring, it makes it deliberate. You don't need to be involved in everything to make an impact. You don't need to impress everyone to matter. You need to be aligned with your vision. And the beautiful thing is, the more your life becomes aligned, the more peace you experience. Anxiety starts to fade, regret loses its grip, chaos makes less noise, because you're not running in circles anymore, you're walking your path. One clear step at a time. It's easy to confuse movement with progress, but vision teaches you that it's not about how fast you're going, it's about whether you're headed in the right direction. Even slow progress is powerful when it's aligned. Even simple actions carry weight when they're intentional. This is the secret behind people who seem calm yet effective, humble yet influential. They've mastered the art of living by vision. They don't let the world decide for them. They already decided, and now everything else follows. You don't have to figure out everything at once. Start by asking yourself, what matters most to me? Where do I feel most alive, most purposeful, most at peace? Begin to shape that into a vision, not just a dream, but a picture of the life you are willing to build with discipline and focus. Once that vision becomes clear, your decisions will become easier. Your priorities will shift. Your life will begin to simplify, not because life gets easier, but because your direction becomes stronger. Vision is not just a beautiful idea, a spark of inspiration, or a private dream tucked safely in the imagination. It is a calling, and with that calling comes weight, the kind of weight that demands accountability, action, and maturity. Vision is not a casual thing. When you truly receive a vision for your life, you inherit a responsibility to protect it, pursue it, and carry it forward with honor. You don't just get to enjoy the inspiration that vision brings, you are now responsible for making it real. It's easy to admire people with great visions, leaders, creators, innovators, healers, but what often goes unnoticed is the burden that vision places on the one who carries it. A real vision doesn't leave you alone, it tugs at your soul, it interrupts your comfort, it asks for sacrifice, it stretches you, corrects you, and demands that you grow into the person who is capable of fulfilling it. Vision may begin as a spark of imagination, but it quickly becomes a standard you must live up to. Many people say they want vision, but not all are ready for the responsibility it brings. Vision asks more from you than ordinary living. It asks you to discipline your habits, control your emotions, guard your circle, refine your skills, and elevate your thinking. It asks you to be different, not for the sake of being special, but because the path you're walking is specific. You can't carry a unique vision while trying to live like everyone else. Vision separates you, and that separation comes with responsibility. You are responsible for feeding your vision with learning, with strategy, with work. You are responsible for protecting it from distractions, from toxic environments, from relationships that weaken your focus. You are responsible for nurturing it in secret seasons when no one sees you, when the results haven't shown yet, when doubt tries to creep in. You are responsible for believing in it even when others don't understand it. That is the weight of vision, not just to have it, but to be faithful to it. Responsibility also means that your vision can't just stay a dream. You have to act on it. A vision without execution becomes a source of frustration. It lingers in the back of your mind like a missed opportunity. Responsibility means moving even when the way isn't fully clear. It means taking the first step without waiting for full approval or perfect conditions. The one who carries vision must become a builder, not just an observer. You are responsible for starting, even if the road is long. The responsibility of vision will also test your character. It's not just about what you accomplish, but how you carry yourself as you pursue it. Can you remain honest under pressure? Can you stay humble in seasons of growth? Can you stay focused in seasons of obscurity? Vision may open doors, but your character decides whether you can stay in the room. You are responsible not only for the success of your vision, but for the integrity with which you walk it out. There's also a responsibility to others. Vision is never just for you. It may be given to you, but it is meant to serve, uplift, or inspire others. That's part of the weight, knowing that someone else's breakthrough may be connected to your obedience. Someone's healing may be waiting on your courage. Someone's clarity may be hidden inside your willingness to step forward. When you delay your vision, you delay someone else's answer. That's a heavy thought, but it's also empowering. You matter, your vision matters, your action matters. Carrying the responsibility of vision doesn't mean you'll always get it right. It doesn't mean you won't feel overwhelmed or uncertain, but it does mean that you're willing to keep showing up, that you honor the assignment enough to grow with it, that you're willing to be stretched, to be corrected, to keep learning, and to keep moving. It's not about perfection, it's about commitment. Some days you will feel the joy of the vision, the excitement, the purpose, the fire. Other days you'll feel the weight, the responsibility, the pressure, the doubt. But both are part of the process. The weight is what strengthens you. It teaches you patience. It builds resilience. It deepens your faith. The ones who rise are not always the most talented, but the ones who take responsibility for what they carry and choose to remain faithful to it. Vision is not just a gift, it is a trust, something placed inside of you with the hope that you will rise to meet it. The world doesn't just need more dreamers, it needs more doers. People who not only see a better future but are willing to work for it, lead for it, fight for it, and live worthy of it. That's what vision requires. Not just excitement, but responsibility. Not just imagination, but dedication. And the moment you say yes to that responsibility is the moment your vision starts to become real. Leadership is not about having a title, position, or authority. True leadership begins with vision. It starts with the ability to see something greater than the present, to imagine a future that does not yet exist, and to inspire others to move toward it. Vision is the fuel of leadership. Without it, leadership loses direction. People may follow instructions, but they won't follow with their hearts. What sets a real leader apart is not just the ability to manage, but the capacity to see ahead and lead others into something meaningful. People don't follow people just because they are in charge. They follow clarity. They follow passion. They follow purpose. A person with vision stands out, even in a crowd. There is something magnetic about someone who knows where they are going. Others are drawn to that sense of certainty, even if they don't fully understand the vision themselves. They recognize the strength of someone who does. Vision gives a leader authority that cannot be given by rank alone. It brings conviction, and conviction builds trust. A leader with vision doesn't just react to circumstances, they respond with direction. They don't simply manage the moment, they shape the future. They are not only concerned with solving problems today, but with building a better tomorrow. When a leader walks in vision, they lift the eyes of those around them. They encourage others to dream bigger, think differently, and believe that more is possible. Vision gives people something to move toward. It gives their work meaning, their pain purpose, and their sacrifice value. But to lead with vision also means to carry the burden of it. It means you are often the first to see the destination, and sometimes the only one who believes it's real. That's part of the weight of leadership: being misunderstood, being doubted, even being opposed. Not everyone will immediately grasp what you see. Not everyone will cheer you on. But a leader with vision doesn't wait for applause to start moving. They walk forward with faith, knowing that their responsibility is not to be popular, but to be faithful to what they've seen. Leadership through vision requires courage. It requires you to speak boldly about a future that hasn't yet arrived. It demands that you step out when the path is still forming, to act when others hesitate. And sometimes it means walking alone until others catch up. That's why vision and leadership cannot be separated. Without vision, leadership becomes nothing more than maintenance. It becomes routine. But when vision is present, leadership becomes transformational. It turns ordinary people into builders of change. A person with vision doesn't wait for permission to lead. They lead by the clarity of their purpose. They lead by example through consistency, integrity, and direction. They don't manipulate, they motivate. They don't dominate, they develop, because vision-based leadership is not about control, it's about service. It's about helping others find their place in something greater. It's about seeing the potential in people and drawing it out by giving them something meaningful to pursue. Leadership also requires patience because vision unfolds in stages. A true leader understands that the people they lead may not see the full picture immediately, so they cast vision again and again, not through pressure, but through passion. They show it with their actions, their words, and their unwavering belief. They create an atmosphere where others begin to believe not just in the leader, but in the vision itself. And that's when true leadership begins, when others begin to own the vision, carry it, and add their strength to it. A leader with vision does not fear challenges, they expect them. They know that resistance is part of the journey. But they keep their eyes fixed on the goal. When the storm comes, they don't panic, they navigate. When there's a delay, they don't quit, they adjust. Their vision becomes their compass. It allows them to endure what others can't, to stand when others would sit, to keep building when others walk away. That kind of resolve is not born from ego. It's born from vision. Leadership without vision becomes dangerous. It becomes about preserving systems rather than inspiring growth. It becomes about personal gain rather than collective good. But leadership anchored in vision leads to impact. It multiplies, it empowers, and it creates legacy. People may forget your title, but they will never forget how your vision moved them. That is the true mark of a leader, not the size of their platform, but the size of the future they helped others believe in. Anyone can be placed in a leadership position, but not everyone will rise with vision. Vision is what turns a manager into a leader, a speaker into a messenger, a dreamer into a builder. It sharpens your focus, strengthens your resolve, and gives you something worth giving your life to. And when you lead with that kind of clarity, that kind of purpose, people will follow not because they have to, but because they want to. Because they've seen something in your eyes, something in your heart, that reminds them of who they could become. Vision often begins in solitude. It is something born deep within a person, a quiet stirring, a persistent idea, a picture that forms in the imagination when the world is silent. No one else hears it. No one else sees it. At first it seems like it belongs only to you, and in many ways it does. Vision is personal. It is uniquely tailored to who you are, your gifts, your pain, your background, your passions. It speaks to your identity and calls you forward in ways no one else may understand. But even though it starts with you, it was never meant to end with you. Vision, while personal, is never private. The purpose of vision is always bigger than the person who carries it. It may be given to one heart, but it is meant to serve many lives. That's what makes vision sacred. It doesn't just elevate the one who receives it. It lifts others as well. The ideas you hold, the dreams you nurture, the solutions that live inside you, they were given to you for the benefit of others. You are the steward of something greater than yourself. You are the messenger of something that is meant to be shared. There's a reason vision feels so heavy at times. It's because it's not just about your success or your fulfillment. It carries the weight of others' healing, direction, or inspiration. What you carry may be the answer to someone else's problem. What you create may become the bridge someone else needs to walk across. That's why hiding your vision in fear or insecurity doesn't just affect you, it delays what others could receive through you. Vision is not a possession to protect. It's a responsibility to release. Too often, people treat their vision as something to keep secret until it's ready, or until they feel worthy. But vision is not about perfection. It's about purpose. You don't have to have everything figured out before you share what's stirring in your heart. The process of vision unfolding often involves community, conversation, and connection. As you begin to express it, even in small ways, others start to resonate with it. They add their ideas, their support, their encouragement, and your vision begins to take shape in the real world. Holding a vision privately can feel safe, but safety can become a cage. When you try to protect your vision by hiding it, you rob it of its power. Vision is meant to move. It is meant to speak, to lead, to reach. Keeping it locked inside prevents it from doing what it was meant to do, change lives. The moment you release your vision into the world, you take a risk, yes, but you also give it room to grow. It may start as a whisper in your heart, but it can become a voice for a generation if you have the courage to share it. Sharing your vision doesn't always mean standing on a stage or speaking to crowds. It can be as simple as starting a conversation, beginning a project, serving someone in need, or living your life with such clarity that others begin to ask, "What do you see that I don't?" Sometimes your vision is communicated not through words, but through your example. Your discipline, your passion, your consistency, these speak loudly. Your life becomes the message, and people begin to see themselves differently because of the way you show up. The danger in keeping vision private is that it isolates you. When you keep it to yourself too long, you start to believe it's too small, or worse, that it doesn't matter. Doubt grows in isolation. But when you begin to voice your vision, even before it's fully formed, you allow others to speak life into it. You give it air, you give it movement, you open the door for alignment, the kind that draws the right people, the right resources, and the right timing into your path. Vision was never meant to be about ego. It was meant to be about impact. If the vision you carry only benefits you, then it's not a true vision, it's a fantasy. A true vision always has room for others. It lifts, it serves, it multiplies. That's how you know it's real. It begins with a longing in your own soul, but its fulfillment is tied to the growth, freedom, or transformation of others. You are simply the vessel through which it comes to life. You don't have to be loud to lead with vision. You just have to be clear. You don't have to be perfect to share what's in your heart. You just have to be willing. What the world needs isn't more polished presentations, it needs more people brave enough to live out what they believe. To show others what's possible, to break through silence with purpose, to carry their vision forward even when it's hard. Because once someone sees your courage, they just might find their own. The moment you begin to live your vision out loud, not boastfully, but authentically, you create permission. You create possibility. And you may never fully know how many lives are changed just because you dared to share what you saw. Vision is not grounded in what already exists. It does not rely on physical evidence, tangible proof, or current circumstances. It reaches into the invisible and brings back the shape of what could be. To carry a vision means to live in the tension between what is and what is possible. It means walking towards something that cannot yet be touched, measured, or confirmed, and doing so with confidence. This is why vision requires faith, and not just faith in outcomes, but faith in the process, faith in your calling, and faith in what your imagination reveals. Imagination is not childish, it is sacred. It is the creative engine of vision. It allows you to see without eyes, to hear without sound, and to build before anything has even begun. Through imagination, the mind becomes a workshop for destiny. Every great breakthrough, invention, solution, and movement began in the imagination of someone bold enough to trust what they saw internally. They believed what others could not see, and they walked toward it when others said it was impossible. But imagination alone is not enough. Vision also demands belief. It requires that you treat what you see in your heart as more real than the obstacles around you. Faith turns imagination into action. It gives weight to your vision. Faith is the bridge between what you see within and what you will one day see around you. Without it, the vision remains dormant, a beautiful picture locked in a dream. But with faith, vision becomes motion. It becomes focus, courage, discipline, and resolve. There will always be moments when your vision seems foolish even to you. You will question your sanity, your timing, your ability. You will look at your circumstances and wonder how something so vivid in your imagination could feel so far away in reality. That is where faith is tested. Vision does not eliminate doubt, it simply gives you a reason to walk through it. Faith is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going despite fear. When you walk by vision, you accept that not everything will make sense right away, but it will make sense in time. The world often values what can be proven, what can be counted, what is logical and visible. But vision lives in the unseen. It moves ahead of evidence. It often sounds unreasonable because it is not built on the present, it is built on the future. That's why people who walk by vision sometimes seem misunderstood or even mocked. But the boldness to believe in what hasn't happened yet is what separates the builders from the bystanders. Imagination creates the blueprint and faith builds the foundation. There is something powerful about allowing your mind to stretch beyond the limitations of your environment. Vision gives you permission to dream of more, to think beyond survival, to imagine contribution, impact, and legacy. It pulls you out of the small box of routine and pushes you into the wild space of possibility. But this kind of thinking is not easy. It's risky. It challenges the voice inside that says, "Who do you think you are?" And to that voice, faith replies, "I am someone who sees something greater." To live with vision is to live with constant tension between the comfort of what is familiar and the calling of what is yet to come. It means holding on to your internal compass when the external path is unclear. It means believing in rain while you're still standing in the desert. That's what makes vision both beautiful and difficult. It shows you the finish line before the race has even started. It shows you a future version of yourself that you are still growing into. And it asks you to move toward it, one imperfect step at a time. Faith is what keeps you building when the materials seem scarce. Faith is what keeps you writing when no one is reading. Faith is what keeps you learning, growing, and stretching when no one is watching. Vision doesn't promise ease, it promises purpose. And when you walk by faith, even the hardest days carry meaning because they are part of the unfolding. Some people lose their vision not because it wasn't real, but because they stopped believing in it. They let discouragement speak louder than their imagination. They let delay convince them that the dream had expired. But vision doesn't die easily. It waits, it watches, and it responds to faith. The moment you begin to believe again, the picture becomes clearer. The energy returns, the steps start to form. What you once thought was lost begins to awaken. No one else needs to see it for it to be valid. No one else needs to approve it for it to be real. Vision is not a vote. It is a responsibility, one that begins in your heart and requires the courage to follow what you can imagine, even when the facts don't agree. The world is changed by those who dared to believe in the unseen, who had the audacity to let imagination lead them and the faith to keep going when others turned back. A vision left unwritten is a vision left vulnerable. It may live in your heart, stir your spirit, or pass through your thoughts in moments of inspiration. But until it is captured on paper, until it is made plain, specific, and visible, it remains fragile. Life is loud, distracting, and constantly shifting. Without something solid to return to, even the strongest visions can fade into the background. The mind forgets what the heart once felt. The urgency disappears. The direction grows cloudy, but writing it down changes that. It gives the vision structure. It makes it real. When you write a vision, you're not just recording a dream, you're defining an intention. You're saying, this is what I see, this is where I'm going, and this is what I am willing to work for. You're taking responsibility for it. The act of writing demands clarity. It forces you to refine your thoughts, shape your ideas, and articulate your purpose. And once it's written, it becomes something you can revisit again and again in moments of doubt, fatigue, or frustration to remind yourself why you started. People often talk about goals, but goals are only effective when they are tied to vision. Vision is the big picture, goals are the steps, but neither goals nor vision will take you anywhere if you're not actively pursuing them. You can't simply admire your vision. You can't stare at the words on the page and hope they come alive on their own. Vision demands pursuit. It calls for action, and that action must be deliberate, daily, and often uncomfortable. Pursuing vision is not a passive process. It's not something you fit into your spare time or wait to feel ready for. It requires decisions. It asks you to wake up with intention, to plan your steps, to track your growth, and to move forward even when the path isn't fully visible. Vision is not magic. It doesn't manifest without movement. It becomes real through your choices, your persistence, and your faithfulness to the process. There will be moments when pursuing vision feels slow, when nothing seems to be working, when others are moving faster, and you're still waiting for breakthrough. But that's when pursuit matters most. Pursuit is not always fast or loud. Sometimes it's quiet, steady and invisible to the outside world, but progress is still progress. Every word written, every habit improved, every skill developed, it all adds up. Vision honors consistency more than intensity. You don't have to move quickly, you just have to keep moving. The process of pursuing vision will also challenge your patience and test your perseverance. Some days the motivation will be high and the steps will feel easy. Other days the vision may feel distant and your energy will be low. That's normal. Pursuit is not fueled by emotion, it's sustained by commitment. You keep going not because you feel like it every day, but because you've decided that your future matters enough to fight for. Writing your vision also serves another purpose. It makes it shareable. When your vision is clear and written, others can catch it. They can partner with it, support it, or be inspired by it. It's hard to follow someone who is unclear about where they're going. But when you've defined your vision in writing and aligned your actions with it, your life becomes a message. Others begin to understand your direction, and some will even find their place in it. That's how teams are built, movements are started, and legacies are formed. The danger of not writing or pursuing your vision is stagnation. You may still be busy, still be working, still be producing, but without alignment, effort becomes noise. You start living on autopilot, reacting instead of building. Time passes, but purpose doesn't grow, and slowly the fire that once stirred your heart begins to fade. That's why vision must be written to protect it, and it must be pursued to fulfill it. Sometimes the hardest part isn't starting, but starting again. You may have written a vision once and abandoned it. Life got in the way, fear crept in, disappointment slowed you down, but the beauty of vision is that it can be revisited. It can be rewritten, refined, and reignited. If it's still alive in your heart, it's still worth chasing. The paper doesn't judge you. The process doesn't expire. Every new day is another chance to pick it back up and begin again with fresh fire. Vision gives your life direction, but writing it gives it form, and pursuit gives it power. One without the other is incomplete. Inspiration without action leads to frustration. Clarity without commitment leads to emptiness. But when you bring all three together, when you take what you see, write it with intention, and pursue it with persistence, your vision becomes a reality. It grows into something others can see, benefit from, and be moved by. And that is how a simple thought turns into lasting impact. In the end, vision is not just something you carry, it is something that carries you. It gives you the strength to endure, the clarity to choose wisely, the courage to stand alone, and the discipline to rise daily with purpose. It is personal, yes, but never meant to remain private. It demands that you believe beyond what you can see, act when no one else does, and pursue with unwavering determination. Vision simplifies your path, shapes your character, and calls you into leadership not through position but through direction. But vision without discipline is only a dream, and discipline without vision becomes routine. Together, they form the foundation of a meaningful life. So write your vision, guard it, grow into it, and most of all pursue it with everything you've got, because someone's breakthrough is waiting on your obedience. Someone's hope is tied to your courage, and your legacy will not be built on what you imagined, but on what you dared to finish. You were not given a vision to admire it, you were given it to fulfill it. So go live it, boldly, faithfully, relentlessly.